Obi's rising popularity among youths worry Atiku, Tinubu camps. Indications emerged on Sunday that the camps of Atiku Abubakar, presidential candidate of the PDP, and that of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressives Congress (APC), are jittery over the rising popularity of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, among the youths. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the three major political parties, APC, PDP, and Labour Party, are currently strategizing to lure youths who constitute the larger percentage of the voting population into their fold. In its most recent report, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), which just completed its Continuous Voters Registration (CVR) program across the country, revealed that 12.2 million newly registered voters, or nearly 71% of the total, are youths. The electoral umpire's figures show that there are roughly 8.7 million people between the ages of 18 and 34, and 2.4 million people between the ages of 35 and 49. About 856,017 people are 50 to 69 years old, while 127,000 people, 541, are above 70. Since democracy was restored in 1999, did it ever exist? Okay, the APC and PDP have been locked in a two-horse contest for the presidency. With the entry of Peter Obi, the Labour Party's presidential candidate, it seems like the presidential election of 2023 would have a different outcome. Former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi, who had already bought a PDP presidential application, withdrew from the contest few days before the primaries to join the Labour Party. Since then, his support has significantly increased, with many young people promising to work for his triumph in the presidential election in the following year. According to Daily Independent, when INEC lifts the ban on political campaigns by the end of September, there's a ban? Oh, I was not sure of that. The three parties will be working assiduously to acquire youth support and engage in youth-focused campaigns in their quest to win the 2023 presidential election. According to a reliable source within the Labour Party, Olusegun Obasanjo, the former president, who has recently raised the alarm over the number of issues that remain unaddressed under the APC-led administration, is working around the clock to build support for the party and Obi in the 2023 elections. Festus Asirua, a PDP chieftain, stated in an interview with Daily Independent that while many young people have expressed their interest in the 2023 presidential race, it cannot be assumed that all of them joined because of Obi or will support the Labour Party in the election. Wow. I mean, first of all, it's not surprising, but to think that Peter Obi is not a factor or even a major factor as to how a lot of youths have been literally so proactive in getting their voters registration cards is pretty much, I mean, it's very delusional. It means it's either you're delusional or you're just choosing to be blind and not look at the facts of what is actually happening in the country. So, of course there will be threats. And I think, to be honest, obviously, as established, APC and PDP have been at each other's necks. I mean, as described, it's been like a two-horse contest since 1999. You might as well just say the only parties in the country are PDP and APC. But now it's not the case. And I think, they might still want to use their usual strategies as if Peter Obi or Labour Party does not exist, but then they would use the Labour Party to get at each other, I think. I mean, these people have shown how desperate they are over the years, and even with their recent actions, still showing how desperate they are. So it seems like, getting into that office by any means necessary is the game plan, because they do have the mentality that, it is all about numbers. Well, fair enough, you say it's all about numbers. Well, This is what the numbers say. And, to a large extent, INEC in this is not also trustworthy as well. I mean, they've proven not to be trustworthy in the past and over how many years. But then obviously recently in the north, there have been complaints that, with registration machines, for some reason in the south, it's either faulty or not enough. But in the north, things are just going, registrations are going fine and as planned. So yes, INEC that claims to be independent, well, it's in the name, and, they're meant to be the governing body, do not seem to be independent. And that in itself poses a lot of threat to, the credibility of how they're going to count the votes and how the elections will possibly be. So yes, if anything, because it's a game of numbers, what the only game plan I think is realistic for Nigerians to apply, because when it comes to manipulation of numbers, these are not necessarily babies in the game, but Nigerians just have to vote, and the numbers will just have to be exceedingly just overwhelming that, even a 6-year-old, even a newborn baby would be like, come on, Peter Obi must have won that election. If that is the route that the youth want to take it. So for whoever is going to win, yes, the competition seems very tight, but for credibility and also accountability that is beyond INEC's reach, because we can't even trust INEC to hold anyone accountable or itself accountable, the votes will just have to be overwhelmingly high. There has just got to be a significant gap that literally just states, what, this party won by far. There is nothing to dispute it. So yes, obviously with the number of those that have registered and votes that are to come, and those that will still register, more numbers are coming, but we will see how things go. To think that I didn't even know that INEC had put a ban on campaigns, but then what is the point? It's such, you're stealing the citizens and civilians' valuable time that they will need to really literally examine these politicians. Like, whose time do you want to waste? Well, it seems like if Nigerians don't fight for more time, we're going to have to wait till September. Put what you think about this in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.